turned the ball over, took a sack that knocked us out of field goal range that I shouldn't have. Missed Debo on the third down. It's another third down to Juwan. Just too many mistakes.
Some of my closest friends in real life are very irritating San Francisco 49ers fans. So as a result, I do try to take shots at the 49ers and I'm with them as much as I can. And not that I want anyone to fail, but when Trey Lance struggled this past Sunday, I was definitely giving my friends a hard time about it. But when I come here to do my job for you guys, and when I see how the media has been scrutinizing this man after him literally just starting 3 games in his NFL career, I figured we need to have a conversation. I asked you guys on Twitter whether or not you wanted me to cover this topic because some of you guys didn't like my last Tom Brady video, and I take each and every one of your comments very seriously. And it seems like 95% of you want me to cover this. So before we get to the content, make sure you follow me on Twitter because I got a lot of help from one of my followers, Jesse, who is a San Francisco 49ers podcast as well. Make sure you check him out and follow him on Twitter if you're a 49ers fan. And of course, I got your feedback on this, so it's really important that we have that line of communication with one another. Now that we got all of that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? For those of you guys that happen to miss week 1 of football, first things first, what the is wrong with you? It's football. But secondly, you may have seen a very harsh debut for this season for Trey Lance. I mean, if you were just to look at the statistics of his game versus the Chicago Bears and not look at any highlights at all whatsoever, you'd probably think that Trey Lance is a bona fide bust. I mean, he only completed 13 of his passes for 46% completion percentage, had 164 passing yards, 1 interception, got sacked twice. I mean, he had a rating of 50.3, and it was so freaking bad that a legendary head coach by the name of Mike Martz already decided that Trey Lance is the draft bust.
I've never liked him. I still don't like him. I'd like to know what he does so well because he's not a great passer, doesn't have good skills, takes him a long time to set himself and throw the football, misses easy throws.
But if you happen to actually watch football, you would see that Trey Lance had to debut in an absolute slop fest. Rain was coming down very hard. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like his second game is also going to feature a decent amount of rain as well versus the Seattle Seahawks. So yeah, he is definitely having some bad luck so far. And I love how Mike Martz came in and decided to write off Trey Lance. I mean, you're talking about the man that literally decided to move on from a quarterback that won him a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator when he pioneered the greatest show on turf with him and took him to the Super Bowl when he was a head coach in 2001 for a man by the name of Mark Bulger. And by the way, said quarterback, Kurt Warner, definitely had some gas left in the tank because he was able to take the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl mere 5 years later after Mike Martz decided that, hey, this guy can't play quarterback for us anymore for Mark freaking Bulger. So yeah, this man is clearly a quarterback expert and you should definitely take everything he says seriously. But for the most part, I really like the way Trey Lance handled himself following the Chicago Bears game. I mean, yes, I know he lost to the lowly Chicago Bears in the rain, who's technically a rebuilding team, and the San Francisco 49ers have Super Bowl aspirations, but look no further than this interview to demonstrate how mature Trey Lance truly is.
Defense kept us in the game. Had a big miss to Tyler Croft in the end zone. Tried to throw a perfect ball, just put it right on him, and he was wide open. Turned the ball over, took a sack that knocked us out of field goal range that I shouldn't have. Missed Debo on the third down. It's another third down to Juwan. Just too many mistakes. A lot of stuff to clean up for sure for me.
But the assassination of Trey Lance didn't end there. And to be honest, when I first saw this, I got a little got myself because I tweeted out this footage during Thursday Night Football because at first it shocked me, and I believed what the large majority of people believe, that Trey Lance, following a horrific loss to the rebuilding Chicago Bears, decided to go to a club and make it rain on a bunch of strippers. But unlike Barstool Sports and Colin Coward, we actually do our research on this channel. Because otherwise, we might get caught saying stupid shit like this.
Can't complete 50% of his throws, making it rain at a club. It's not the NBA, man. Got 8 home games, got to win them, especially when you have a Super Bowl roster. According to the story, Twitter supported Trey Lance. Of course they do. Of course Twitter supported it, but Twitter's not real life.
And in the words of Trey Lance, the only thing I have to say about that take is,
Yeah, that guy's a bozo.
so you might be asking me, Mike, what are you talking about? If this video wasn't taken right after the Chicago Bears game, when was it taken? Let me walk you through everything, because after doing my research on this, it really twisted my mind a little bit. So if you see this video that I showed you, originally you see that there is a caption that indicates that this was taken on Snapchat. Now the original video, and I only have a screenshot of this, but the original video was actually posted onto Instagram. The guy that posted it onto Instagram actually changed his name to September 11 and posted it at 4:20 p.m. as you can see right in front of you. And pay attention to this, because this will give you an idea of how hard people are trying to assassinate Trey Lance and how much they're really trying to sabotage this poor man. So September 11th was this past Sunday. Let's assume everything about this video is right. Let's assume that on September 11th, Trey Lance, following his game, decided to go to some strip club and make it rain on some strippers to make himself feel better about a truly horrific debut for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, in order for this to make sense, Trey Lance's game versus the Chicago Bears, which by the way was played in Chicago, started at 10 a.m. Pacific time and it ended around 1 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Pacific time. Following that, it takes about an hour and a half for Trey Lance and the San Francisco 49ers to shower, get ready, change, do press, etc., etc. Then of course they're in Chicago, so they need to board the plane in order to go home. At that point, it's not that hard to really figure out how long it takes to fly from Chicago to San Francisco. I mean, a simple Google search shows that if you want a non-stop flight from multiple airlines, the average flight time is 4 hours and 38 minutes. You're already over the time for Trey Lance possibly being able to be there at 4:20 p.m., which is a strange time to go to a strip club, by the way, in order to partake in these activities. Furthermore, if you look at Trey Lance's post-game interview, he is not even close to wearing the attire that he wore in this video. But on top of that, in order for this to make sense, Trey Lance would have had to been traveling with a bunch of cash, ready to get off of the airplane immediately to go to the club with his buddies, which means there is no chance that this could have taken place on September 11th, which means it probably took place before September 11th, which means this video was taken in the off season. And if you're gonna hate on a 22-year-old man that finally was able to make his dreams come true for hitting the strip club with his friends, which if that's what you like to do, man, I'm not gonna judge you for the way you want to party. So long as you get your job done, so long as you perform on the field, which I've said multiple times, I have tremendous confidence in Trey Lance succeeding this season, primarily because he has remarkable weapons around him, and Kyle Shanahan's system is one of the most QB-friendly systems, if not the most QB-friendly systems in the entire NFL. I personally don't understand why people are so quick to rule out Trey Lance, to try to sabotage Trey Lance, when there's been quarterbacks that have been struggling for longer in their sophomore seasons, like say Trevor Lawrence or say Zach Wilson. While Zach Wilson didn't play in his sophomore season, but in his freshman season, he also struggled, which I'm not saying those quarterbacks need to be written off immediately either, but I'm saying they've performed worse for way longer, and obviously they're in significantly different circumstances than Trey Lance's. Trevor Lawrence had to deal with the Urban Meyer situation, which ironically kind of was in a similar situation last year when he decided to stay back in Ohio, and of course the whole grind incident happened. That was different, man. That's a 58-year-old man who's married with a wife and kids. So that's besides the point. I'm not saying any of these quarterbacks should be written off at all whatsoever. I see the potential in all of them. I just don't understand the media's obsession with trying to sabotage Trey Lance at this point. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of doing this, because there was a story that Albert Breer put out, which he's a very trusted source of mine, which apparently was not necessarily true and was just an audience grab for clicks. So I got in my career as well, especially covering this topic. But the fascination that the media has with trying to sabotage this young man is just really surprising. If there's one mistake that Trey Lance made in this instance, it's the fact that he didn't take into account around that he's a pretty important public figure at this point. And maybe he should be looking into his inner circle because there are people that are clearly trying to sabotage him. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Do you really think Trey Lance decided to go to a strip club following a really tough defeat to a lowly team? Do you really think he's that stupid to squander the remarkable opportunity that has been presented before him after sitting behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a season and finally getting the opportunity to drive the Lamborghini that is the San Francisco 49ers offense, a team that has Super Bowl aspirations? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.